Welcome to the Daytona Beach Real Estate Insider, powered by the Daytona Beach Area Association of Realtors. Whether you're a real estate agent or just interested in our local real estate market, we hope this podcast provides value to you. We explore how our local association supports its members and share key tips for navigating Volusia and Flagler County real estate. Stick with us for the next few minutes. You won't want to miss it.
Hey everybody, I'm Kristin Petersen. I'm the president of the Daytona Beach Area Association of Realtors, and this is Leah Selig. Hi, Leah.
Hey, Kristin. Good morning.
Like I've never met you before, right?
I know. Hey.
No, Leah is our current CEO of the association, and I'm going to start by saying this. When I became a real estate agent, and when I say 91 or 92, that was the time frame. It was a decade. It was another century.
The 1900s
I know,
stuff, right?
Well, you too, too, lady. But anyway, I knew that I went to the association to pay my bills and call for a question or something like that. I had no idea really that there was a CEO behind the picture or, any other roles like that. So now that I'm in the know, obviously, I've been involved for years. I think many real estate agents and maybe even the public probably have that same, imagination that they just don't know what that's all about. So let's start there. Let's start with your career. Like, how did you get where you are today? And I know that's a big question, but start there. Let's go.
Well, I actually started on this path unexpectedly. I was 16 years old, and I got a part-time job with the Melbourne Association of Realtors. My job then was to create the MLS notebooks. They didn't have books back then.
Right.
It was a 3-ring binder, and I would put those binders together for the new agents when they came in, and then I would type up all the changes. So when there was a price change, you guys would have to sit down and thumb through that binder, find the right city, find the right listing, and write the price change down. Mm-hmm. So it's quite different these days.
Yeah. And then you played a lot of different roles, obviously, through the years. So you went from that role to how did you get to be a CEO?
So when I was 22 years old, the CEO of the Cape Kennedy Board of Realtors was retiring. Mm-hmm. And I thought, I'm going to interview for that job. I knew I was too young, never expected to be hired. And lo and behold, they hired me. And I was really shocked.
You went home and went,
yeah, I went home and said, now what do I do? Yeah, that's when I started, when I was like 22 years old, youngest CEO in the state of Florida.
Wow. Yeah.
I still kind of hold that record, and I guess I should be proud of it. I don't know.
You should.
But I'm really old now.
No, well, you don't look it, girl. You're doing it good, But, it really is a major thing. And now that I've seen you act in your role, it's a big role. I mean, it's a lot.
We do a whole lot more than most people realize we do, to be quite honest. Right now we've got 8 employees, and each one of them have specific departments that they're responsible for. And it's like, I know we're not big like big corporations, but their roles are that big.
Yeah. Yeah. And the crowd is tough.
It is.
It's a tough crowd, those real estate agents. But so you've been in the industry for a while, and you even have a building named after you.
I do.
You need to talk about that.
We, after one of our mergers, I've been involved with 3 association mergers over the years. And during that last merger, we both had 2 big, beautiful buildings. And the most difficult part for that last merger was, we have our buildings, $1 million buildings. We don't want to lose our buildings. We don't want to lose our location. And 1 year after the merger, what does the board of directors want to do? They want to sell the buildings and they want to build new. So we went from 2 buildings, probably one office was at 8,000 square feet and the other one was like 13. Wow. And we ended up with a 15,000 square foot building in the middle of the county. And it changed the whole perspective of the organization at that point in time.
That was probably the right thing to do.
It truly was.
One of the buildings, you know.
It truly was.
It brought everybody together. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the communities, all of a sudden they saw this big building pop up and they said, whoa, what are these realtors? What are they doing? Mm-hmm. So it was.
And that's important, right? Mm-hmm. So how did your name get on the building? I guess you handled the whole thing.
Well,
and you've been, you've attributed a lot to the industry, especially in that area.
It was difficult times. The merger I was responding to emails during the merger it was very tenuous. And I was responding to emails at 3:00 in the morning. And I kind of think that after we got through all of that, fortunately, I had a good sound base of both sides of the membership, both groups. I had worked for one for a while, then I worked for the other one, and I think that's probably why they named the building after me. I'm not really sure.
Well, I think it's awesome. You know, what a great honor.
I was
really.
there for 45 years.
Yeah, for
45 years.
That's a lot of service right there. So now that you've been through, mergers and acquisitions and all of that, as it relates to that side of the industry, you've seen a lot of industry trends too, as it relates just to the real estate market. Yeah. So our audience here, hopefully, is the public as well as real estate agents. What do you see going on right now? What do you think is like one of the top two things that the public should be aware of and real estate agents just overall for all the trends that you've seen?
Well, the market is changing. We've come through some difficult times, with the pandemic and everything's kind of slowing down. And now I believe that a lot of consumers have unrealistic expectations. Before we were getting multiple offers, you guys were handling 4, 5, 6 offers at a time on a property. Yeah. That's changing. The market is stabilizing, I feel like, and it is different. So instead of things selling within 15, 20 days, now it may take 6 months.
Right.
For a property to sell.
Yeah.
And that's, and I think that's hard for both the realtors to get a handle on, as well as the community at large.
Yeah, conveying it over and letting it sink in.
Yeah, and interest rates didn't help.
Right.
Things are staying on the market longer now because the interest rates are a little higher than they used to be.
Well, I think the thing to remember, and what I've witnessed over the markets too, is there's always a market within a market. So there's the properties are always selling. It's just you have to position whatever you're trying to sell in the current market that you're in,
And that's why a realtor is so important in the transaction.
Oh, yeah. Well, yep. I mean, I could go on about that, but I'm not going to. But so let's talk about realtors for a minute. A lot of real estate agents, especially in this very contentious market, there's a lot of movement going within our industry. And some real estate agents and I'm playing off of the NAR lawsuit and all of that, wonder, why am I paying my dues? What am I getting out of my dues? So what would be your answer to that?
The MLS database is critical, and maintaining that database is what we do for the realtors and for you guys. Education, I cannot stress strongly enough. As things changed and now there are, there's the transition from just being selling brokers and buyer brokers having to arrange their compensation differently. That's hard for the consumer to understand. It's hard for the realtor to communicate. So we offered a variety of programming that allowed them to do that. We brought in, thanks to Kristin, Jared James, who is a national speaker, and he really drilled down for our members, how they could approach the transaction a little differently, and maybe teaching new skill sets.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is important to be able to convey that in a very simple way to the public. It's really not a complicated issue. Obviously we get paid for our services, and our services, the fees are in the transaction. Just like when you go buy an apple at Publix, the guy who drove the apple to Publix, the guy who picked the apple off the tree, all of their fees are in the price of the apple. And so when you buy an apple, you're paying for all those people. It's
Correct,
the same thing in real estate. And so you just have to kind of convey it in a different way. You're moving numbers around, basically. But yes, education, and you guys have done a fantastic job this year of the education. I mentioned that in the meeting the other day, that it's just been great. Hopefully the members are taking advantage of that. What do you think are some underutilized tools by the members that maybe they should be taking to the public that they're not using? What do you see in the association level there?
We're offering free floor plans to kind of help to market the property a little bit better. We've got some developer floor plans for the condominiums are coming on soon.
Well, we've got different platforms that give instant information. To find a property in a flood zone used to be a very arduous, task. You had to go to all these different places and then you had to figure out how to use them or whatever. And now we have a program that you can just go in there. It says it's in a flood zone. It's not in a flood zone. It's that easy. It should have been that easy 10 years ago. But, stuff like that. We're trying to, I guess, make it easier on the members, And I think that the international advertising, too, we're bringing on that platform.
Yes, that's going to be amazing, I think. So not only will our members' listings be advertise locally and nationwide. They're going on a site that's used by international markets.
Yeah, and the international market in Florida is really upticked in the last year, if you look at the stats there. But so what would you say is your proudest moment in your career so far? Not the building. Let's skip
not the
that
building.
part.
Yeah, honestly, I really think that when we at my previous employment, having to facilitate or being involved in that facilitation of that merger, it changed everything. It made that association the voice for real estate in their community. And I'm hoping that we're getting ready to transition that for Daytona also. You know, I was really proud of that, being there and making that merger possible, or helping to make it.
Yeah, and in Daytona, I mean, we're getting not a new building, but we're renovating our building on US 1, and maybe we should make that a little bit of a public event too. I guess we could do a ribbon cutting and things like that.
I think that's a great idea.
Get the public to see that, and hopefully we'll have a room there that maybe the public can come in and rent too, like a podcast room like we're doing right now. And we're talking about things like that, but to get the public more involved. And if you're a member of the public and listening to this and you want to know ideas about real estate, or you want topics that that we're not covering, go ahead and comment on whatever device you're listening on here, whether it's Spotify or something like that, and let us know, because we do want to let you know that as an association, the public is our audience, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, we service real estate agents, but real estate agents service the public, and they need to know that we're here for them, right?
Yeah.
So. What else would you like to convey as the CEO of the association?
Well, we have over 2,200 members, and they're real estate professionals. They abide by a strict code of ethics, and that's another really important thing that I'm not sure everybody really understands. We do have a strict code of ethics, and the realtors we have monthly classes that talk about it, and we teach them how to be better realtors through the organization, through the instructors we bring in.
Yeah, because I don't think the public understands that not every real estate agent is a realtor, And so as a realtor, you have to abide by the code of ethics and certain rules and regulations. But as a real estate agent out there, if you're not a realtor, you don't have to.
No, and it could be the wild, wild west again.
Oh, yeah. And they were trying to make it the Wild West, and hopefully that doesn't go down that road. And everybody probably in the public knows that they're trying to kind of unregulate everything from the Department of Business and Professional Regulations, even engineers and nail techs and haircutting people and all that. Just take all the regulation out of it and let everybody do whatever they want. Oh my gosh, we're all like going, this would be crazy, It'd not be good, right?
You guys are involved in the most expensive transaction that most people are going to do in their entire lifetime.
Right.
And the public deserves to be represented by a realtor in those transactions.
Absolutely. So I hope that word's getting out there, and I hope the agents understand that too. And going back to the education thing, everything changes. Everything changes. Just because you knew the contract 10 years ago, well, shoot, that contract's gone, long gone. You know what I mean? It changes almost annually now. It seems like. So, got to stay on top of it. But I appreciate you coming in and being able to introduce you and let everybody know that there is a CEO of the association, and it's a big job, and it's a lot of egos and all of that.
It's a big business.
It's a big business. I guess
It
that's
is
the way
a
to put
business.
it. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, and you run it well. So
thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Congratulations
My pleasure.
on your role and everything. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Daytona Beach Real Estate Insider. We hope you found today's episode helpful. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an update. And don't forget to follow us on social media for the latest news and tips. Until next time, happy house hunting.